French police are still looking for two of the gunmen accused of a terrorist attack in Paris. The youngest of the suspects, 18-year-old Hamid Morad, turned himself in. JCP will shutter 39 stores by April and let about 2,200 employees go, while Macy's will get rid of 14 stores in the next few months and cut up to 2,200 jobs. This year's Golden Globes were all about free speech. George Clooney was honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award. Upon receiving the acknowledgement, Clooney praised the international reaction to the recent attacks in France.
Today was an extraordinary day. There were millions of people that marched, not just in Paris, but around the world.
Scammers are always looking for ways to rip us off, especially during tax season. With 2 months left to file, the IRS says there's a few things to look out for. Number 1, who is doing your taxes?
USA Today and Suffolk University interviewed 1,000 people, and most of them said they support gay marriage. Nearly half of them said that's because they have a family member or a close friend who's in a same-sex marriage.
Last year, the U.S. saw about 12 million illegal immigrants trying to escape poverty, violence, and corruption, and many of them lost their lives taking the treacherous journey to America. Between January and September of 2014, over 4,000 migrants died worldwide.
If you think you're the only one working way past your shift, take comfort in knowing you're not alone. Gallup released its annual work and education survey, and it turns out that many of those interviewed aren't sticking to the typical 9-to-5, 5-day work week.
Places like Indiana, Ohio, Oklahoma, and Missouri, which support aggressive anti-abortion laws, saw a 15% decline. But so did states where abortions are unrestricted, like New York and Washington. When we go on vacation, we try to relax, forget about the rules, and leave the real world behind. But some of us take it way too far. And as it turns out, Americans behave worse than others. Travel deal website TravelZoo asked 9,500 adults from the US, UK, China, Canada, and Germany about their dirty little secrets while they're vacationing. The University of North Carolina has been studying Americans' eating habits over the past decade, and the results show much improvement in how many calories we eat each day. According to the research, the most important reason for that comes from the fact that we drink less soda, about 79 calories less than in 2004.
But according to Climate Central, our cities could soon look very different from the way we know them today. Boston, for example, may see about a 9-foot rise of sea levels because of increasing carbon dioxide levels. That means about a quarter of the city would be buried under water during a high tide.
While our murder rates today have a long way to go before they reach the ones from the late 80s and early 90s, that's not a reason we shouldn't reconsider our gun policies and come up with better ways to protect our streets. It was a sad weekend for the Biden family. On Saturday, Vice President Joe Biden lost his 46-year-old son to brain cancer. Beau Biden had a mild stroke back in 2010 and was diagnosed with the disease 3 years later.
On Sunday, Boehner appeared on Face the Nation, where he said he's still working with the president to prevent a government shutdown. The House Speaker also vowed to work on raising the federal borrowing limit and extending popular tax breaks.
Senators voted 64-35 to approve the new legislation. It's a perfect send-off for former Speaker of the House John Boehner, who kept his promise to clean the barn for his successor Paul Ryan. Adnan Syed will be able to defend himself again. The murder suspect, who received much attention after the first season of Serial, was granted a new hearing, which will allow him to present new alibi evidence.
The spacecraft is traveling almost 1 million miles per day and is expected to be in the Pluto neighborhood by July of next year, only 6,000 miles from the sphere that defines the outer edge of our solar system. But it's not just the closeness that's getting astronomers excited. New Horizons is equipped with cameras more powerful than the Hubble Space Telescope.
Spider silk is stronger than steel and can be used for things like cables and bulletproof vests. And because the human body doesn't reject it, spider silk can also be used to make artificial tendons or to coat implants. One of America's favorite pastimes is dropping in sales. 10 years ago, a pack of gum was about $1. Now it's almost double that. And the flavor doesn't last that long either.
Catalogs first went into print in the early 1900s. They were the size of a phone book. But through the years, they've grown smaller to only include a few pages with images giving lifestyle suggestions and clear but detailed descriptions.
The newly elected president will want to show results fast. To try and avoid uprisings similar to the ones that led to the ousting of former President Hosni Mubarak in 2011 and Morsi last year.
It was a triumph for the British and the world. The biggest obstacle, the highest peak, had been conquered. The menacing slopes of Mount Everest were climbed for the first time on May 29, 1953, exactly 61 years ago today. At 11:30 a.m. on May 29th, the two reached the highest peak in the world. Climbing Mount Everest is one of the most dangerous challenges on Earth. Just last month, 16 died in the deadliest avalanche ever on that peak. But back in '53, the team survived. The father of the most mysterious painting ever is slowly vanishing from his own work. This Leonardo da Vinci painting, which many believe to be his own self-portrait, has been disappearing from the paper it was once drawn on.
All states have a limit of how much booze you can drink before you drive. But now researchers need to figure out something like that for weed. So volunteers from Iowa have been getting drunk and high all in the name of science.
What was once the Pony Express soon became Express Mail, and it sped through the skies. It was in the 1920s, and airmail service across the country was just taking off.
The baseball world lost one of its biggest legends on Tuesday night. New York Yankees all-star catcher Yogi Berra died at his home in New Jersey. During his impressive baseball career, Berra set multiple records, including topping the 100 RBI mark for 4 consecutive years.